Hi everyone, this is John Wen. Today is July 1st, 2018. This will be a new start of series of video to talk about the workflow executor. And from this week, we will start from a very simple program, that is to create a plus function and by using the java.io and to read two files as input and to plus them by call a Python a method and then return to Java and to writing an output file. So basically this is a core idea of today's program, and let's start to take a look at the code. So in the main method, and we have a class called the task Python. So let's take a look what's inside this task Python class. So in this class we have a function constructor, and we also extend task class, and this will be the parent class, and we have task Python as a child class, and this will enable us to use a task class method. And let's take a look at what's inside. So in the task class we have several protected variables declared, and protected means we can visit these variables in a single package. Also we have a function constructor to take two parameters in this function constructor. One is task name, one is task description, and it will set to the protected local variable. So let's go back to this task Python.java, and we see that in this function constructor we call the super. That means we will instance a new class of task and to input two arguments here. The first one is T1 and second one it looks like a description. So if it's the parameters here, so the first one T1 is a task name and second one is a task description. So we define a task, and also then we will define two arrays, and the first one is type of input port and second one is output port, and we will initialize each of them. First one is length of 2 and second one is length of 1 because we have two inputs and one output. And for the first input, and we will create a new instance of this input port. So let's take a look at this class. It takes three parameters as input in the function constructor, and first one is port name, port type, and description. Port type will be either defined as integer or double or string. We will look at that later. Let's go back. So now we create a new instance of two input variables and one output class variables. And also in this class we have several other methods like run, and we will use this run later in this class. So let's go back to main.java. Firstly, we initialize a new instance of task Python, and remember from that we knew a new instance of input port for two inputs and one output for the output port class. And in the import port class, and we have several other methods like the set locations, because we have to let the program know where is the input files located and it's able to read. So we have read function here, method here, sorry. So we will need the location. So firstly we need to set the locations for this T1 dot int1 or int0. So this is input 0 and this is input 1 in this T1 instance. So we set the first integer as a location and second integer as location. So we can see here we have these two files. So actually we are passing the two paths to S and set the location to the local variable's location. So then we can use the read function to read them. And we also set the out, because we also need to output the data and to write in the output file. Here we also need a output integer path. So we also have an output integer path here. Later, after we set all the paths for the location, and then we will call the run function. So let's take a look at the run function here. So it's in the task Python. So firstly, it will call the read function to read the two input port instance. And let's take a look at read function. And read function will take the location as we just defined for each of them, and to file a new file with a location. And we will use a java.io file reader and also buffer reader, and to parse the file into a new instance, and then we will read line and to pass a value to a string. Here we define an empty string at the very beginning, and then because we also at the very beginning when new instance of this class, we have to input a port type, so it will help us to determine whether it is a integer or double or string. So if it is integer, and we will just return a integer of I. If it is double, and we will return double of D. So let's go back to run method. Now we read those files, and then we get the value as I0 or I1, and we will use a string and also int O0 and set it as -1, because we're gonna change it later, and this like a initial value. So we will output the value of two inputs we just read, and then we will use a process builder, and this is a Java function that is to create a operating system process, and we will pass a path and also a Python file and as an execution file, and also we will pass two variables. If we are checking this process builder method, we will know we will need to pass the string as arguments here. So either way, we can define as integer dot to string, or we can just add a empty string at beginning and then plus the integer, and will automatically to give us a string. So this will be the process builder, and then we will call the start in this process builder, and it will help us to create a new instance of this process. And then we will use a get input string from this process builder, and it will help us to return the value that is from returned by the process. And then we will also use a java.io. There is input string IO readers, and also the buffer reader to read the data. So this is a return the computing data from the from this file, and with two inputs. So we can take a look at it. It's very simple on this Python file. Actually, just execute a plus function and print it out. So it's very simple. After the plus function, it should return the summary of the result and as the output. So we read it and put it into the in variable. And then we will read buffer reader and then put it into the result value, and then we will output it. And finally, because we know it's an integer, so we're gonna to transfer the data to the integer, and then we just write it out. So let's review it's in the output port class, and this function will take an object O as we are passing the integer here as an object. Depends on the type, and we're gonna write it to the string and to get the value of string, and then we will write to the file. Depends on the location we are setting for this output class. So finally we are call the buffer writer, and through the file writer and pass a value. Then we're gonna write to this file. So let's run this program and take a look at what's the output. So the first integer is 10 and second is 56, and after we pass this to the process builder and to call the Python function, and it just helps us to summarize to get the plus function created and then return the result to the Java program, and then we get the output, and we also write this to this output file. So let's take a look at here. Yeah, we get a 66 from this file. This is a very simple program that is to introduce a very simple idea of workflow executor that is help us to create a plus function in Java. We will be able to call a outside file and to help us to build a system process, and then to return the value and write into a file. So this is a core method of this program, and also will be a very simple start. So hopefully we will get a better idea next time when we delve into some complex program. And so this is the content of today, and till next time, happy coding. Thank you for your time.